Crime, Wine, and Chaos contains adult language and graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
Happy Sunday, Chaos Kids. I'm Naomi.
And I'm Amber, and this is Crime, Wine, and Chaos.
What was that sound?
I don't know. Did I hit the table?
I don't know what it was. It sounded like a bird chirp.
Oh, I was chirping.
Are you a bird?
I'm like a bird.
Are you like the chicken lady in the Kids in the Hall series? I don't.
Oh my God. That's all I want is to be the chicken lady. God. I'm hungry.
I have a coworker who does the most perfect impersonation of the chicken lady, and it's just
Seriously?
delightful. Yes, and it's just delightful.
God, what did she do to really hone that skill? I'm jealous. Oh, he. Oh,
Yes.
Good for him.
Yes.
That's amazing. Fuck.
Hi, sister.
Hi, sister. How are you?
I mean, I'm fine. I'm fine. I can't.
Are you? What's going on over there? You got ants in your pants?
I can't get comfortable today.
Christ,
I'm having a hot
clearly.
flash day. I'm sorry. I might have to take off the headphones, and I accidentally wore a pullover hoodie, which is always a bad idea.
Oh no.
Especially when we're podcasting, or maybe I just do that trick where you pull the hem from the bottom up and through the neck and turn it into a crop top. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. Anyway, I'm fine.
I'm fine. This is fine. Everything's fine.
This is fine.
That's wonderful. I'm glad you're fine. Are you sure?
Yes.
Fuck.
What's new with you?
I'm good. What's new with me? Thank you for asking. This feels odd because it's Saturday afternoon, which is not our normal time. So I had band practice today. So I literally have had my face in a microphone for the entire day. I'm getting tired of my own voice, and I'm going to take a vow of silence when we're done here for the rest of the day.
Okay. Yep.
Okay,
Sounds
great.
like a good plan. Sounds like a good plan.
Thank you. I'm going somewhere after this, hopefully.
Oh, hopefully? Question mark?
Listen. Okay, we were going to go. Michael's so funny. He's like, what's the place with the big food? I'm like, what? He's like big food, and there's big fans, and it's big. And I'm like, claim jumpers. Did you know
big
that the claim
big
jumpers?
It's big.
There's that big cake in
And
the
there's
front.
Paul Bunyan there.
Well, we're always on the prowl for the best mozzarella sticks.
Okay.
And Michael says that's where it's at. And so we were all excited to go to dinner there after this. And the two closest, Bellevue and Alderwood, went out of business.
They didn't make it through the pandemic.
They didn't. The only one in Washington is in Tukwila.
That's a haul for
we're not doing
matzo sticks. That's quite a haul for matzo sticks. So are you
I
on
mean,
the hunt
I would
for
do it.
another place today to get matzo
I
sticks?
tried that. He needs to sit with his grief for a minute.
Sure.
Because I was like, hey, let's just Google best mott sticks, and he's like, no.
It's not claim jumpers. I don't want to go.
It's not big plates, big fan. I'm not. So he just needs to take a minute.
Big
and
bear. Okay.
I might be going
Go get
somewhere,
mozzarella
but I
sticks
don't know.
somewhere, but not at claim jumpers, apparently.
No, that is not an option.
Tukwila isn't that far.
It's
still in Pugetropolis. It's not like you got to go to Moses Lake.
You're not wrong. But if I'm going to go all that way, I'm not going to claim jumpers.
Don't let Michael hear you say that.
That's why I whispered it.
No, I got you.
We'll be right by 13 coins at that point. Can we pick a? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure. Well,
anyway,
I wish you the best in whatever you endeavor this afternoon, this evening.
You made a rhyme.
I did. I'm a poet. I didn't know it.
Oh my God.
So, Sissy, do you have a crime story for me today?
I do. It's really a bummer.
That's a shocker because you've never used those words on this show ever before.
Okay. All righty.
Are you going to make me cry?
It could, but I'm going to I'm never intentionally doing that. It looks like you're tearing up already. And
I just have watery eyes today. It's fine. Everything's fine. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. So I'm going to tell you about the murder of Faith Hedgepeth.
Hedgepeth?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's Friday late morning on September 17th, 2012, in an off-campus apartment near University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And Karen Rosario returns home after staying overnight with a friend. And when she goes inside of her apartment, she sees her friend and roommate, Faith Hedgepeth, unconscious, and there's blood everywhere. So Karina calls 911.
Karina or Karen?
Karina.
Oh, you said Karen earlier.
Did I actually?
You actually did.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. First of all.
Sorry.
I think you need to put your shirt up in your little clip.
Hold on.
I think you're overheating.
Hold on. I am. No, I mean, that's just a give. Hold on. Maybe if I just tuck it under the bottom edge of my bra into a crop top, that's better. Okay, keep going.
You know what? You need one of those old school t-shirt clips.
Yes.
But like a thick one. Okay. Well, good news is this audio is being recorded. So if when I go back and listen, I did say Karen, I'll put a little note at the front of this. I'll do an audio note that says Naomi was correct. I said Karen.
But if you didn't, not, you need to make another audio clip that's like Naomi.
Oh, fuck yeah. Anyway, we're talking about
the record show.
And Karina.
Faith and Karina. So Faith is passed out, unconscious. There is blood everywhere. Karina calls 911.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me tell you about Faith.
Please.
She was born September 26th, 1992, and she grew up in Hollister, which is a small town in North Carolina. The town's population was around 1,000 residents, most of which consisted of the Hallawasaponi tribe.
Oh, okay.
That was also Faith's family.
Okay.
So Hollister is a pretty remote town, and it's around 30 miles to like the closest anything that resembles a city. So there's no healthcare services in Hollister. And because of that, Faith wanted to become a pediatrician. So her plan after completing school was to return to her community where she could open up her own practice and provide services to her tribe.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So Faith's parents separated when she was just a baby. She has two older siblings, a sister, Rolanda, and a brother, Chad. And Rolanda was like Faith's second mom. She called Faith her baby.
Oh.
I know. She was one of the top students in her high school, and she was accepted to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She was even awarded a full scholarship all the way through grad school.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. And she is beautiful. It doesn't even describe it. She is stunning. And everyone who knew her said that she was just always happy and bubbly.
It's always the happy, bubbly ones.
I know.
That's why I'll be fine. Know. That's why I'm going to be fine.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Well,
no one's coming for me.
Okay, I don't think that should be like your only line of defense, but good for you.
No, but it's a good big buffer. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but also lock your doors.
I mean, yes, of course.
I mean, of course. You say that now. Like 8 months ago, you didn't say that.
Hey, no. It's been longer than 8 months. I hate to break it to you, but the pandemic started like 3 years ago, and I did it in the depths of 2020. So that was.
You decided to start locking up during the apocalypse where there was nobody outside your door anyway.
Well, I had more time on my hands to, think and
install a lock.
Yep.
I see.
That's right. Exactly right.
Okay. You know what? We got there. Let's just celebrate that. We got there.
All right.
So Faith is feeling pretty overwhelmed in college. She wasn't used to so many people and so many different types of people after spending her entire life in her small tribal community.
Well, yeah. I mean, how big is this university? I mean, she grew up with 1,000 people, and there's like probably 10, 20, 30, 50, I don't even know, tens of thousands of people on this campus alone.
From all walks of life. Yeah. So she worked a few part-time jobs, and at one point she made the decision to take a quarter off of school so she could sort of get her bearings. But she still lived at the dorms and she was on campus. She just needed to take a beat for a second.
Okay.
And it was just a few weeks after Faith returned to school at that start of the fall quarter that she was killed.
Okay. This is her, this would be her sophomore year?
I think we're going into junior year. She's 19.
Okay.
So 4 years prior to Faith's murder, another UNC student who was the student body president was murdered in an off-campus robbery.
Oh.
So we'll just put a pin in that for later.
Okay.
So the night before her murder, which was Thursday, September 6th, Faith met up with friends and roommate Karina Rosario at the on-campus library to study and do homework. And afterwards, the two returned to their shared apartment. Faith was temporarily staying with Karina while she waited to receive her financial aid money, and then she planned on getting her own place.
Okay.
So they stopped off at the apartment to change their clothes and then go out for the night. And they went to a popular downtown club called The Thrill.
The Thrill?
A Thrill. Uh-huh.
Okay.
It looks like the main street of this town butts up against the college.
Right.
And so it's just a hot spot. And The Thrill, even though there was a bar, they let you go in underage if you just wanted to go in and dance.
Right.
So it was like the most popular spot.
Sure, of course.
Video footage shows the two going in together, and they end up leaving the club about 90 minutes later because Karina says that she wasn't feeling well.
Okay.
And when Karina exits the club, you see her talking to a man, and she's using a lot of hand gestures like she's either excited or upset.
All right.
Yeah. And about 20 seconds later, you see Faith leave the club, and she has her arm draped over some unknown dude.
Great.
Yes. Great. Yeah. So I know. So they go back to their apartment where Faith is taking care of Karina because she's sick. And cell phones records show that both women were on their phones at the apartment at 2:40 a.m. At 3:40 a.m., a mutual friend of theirs who had also been at the Thrill that night got a text from Faith that read, "Can you come over here? Karina needs you more than you know. Please let her know that you care."
Okay.
This is all very strange.
Yes.
So this person responded several hours later saying, "Who is this?" because they didn't have Faith's number programmed in their phone.
New number, who dis?
Yeah, who dis? Who dis is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another UNC student who Faith dated her freshman year said that he got a text from her in the early morning hours too that said she still loved him. And he thought this was really strange because the two hadn't really been in contact.
Okay.
So at this time, Karina is also messaging friends. And at 4:30 a.m., a male friend of Karina's comes over to pick her up. And Karina says that because it was her apartment, there was only one key. So they have this sort of system of like sort of swapping the key back and forth. But because of this, when Karina leaves, she leaves the key inside for Faith to lock up when she leaves, but she leaves the door unlocked because you can only lock it from the outside.
Oh, with the key.
Yeah.
Is this, I'm sorry, I can't remember. Was this an on-campus apartment or like a just off-campus apartment?
It's just off campus.
Okay.
So Faith is asleep. It's 4:30 in the morning. Karina leaves and leaves the door unlocked.
With some friend.
She leaves with some friend. Yeah.
Okay.
So later that morning, when Karina says that she was trying to get in touch with Faith because she was hoping that Faith could come pick her up from this friend's house, Faith didn't answer. So Karina reached out to one of their mutual friends, Marisol, which I love that name.
That's a cool name.
What a cute name.
Yeah.
Marisol. Uh-huh. And Marisol tried to get a hold of Faith too. And when she wasn't able to reach her, she went and picked up Karina. And then the two went into the apartment together. And they're calling out for Faith and getting no response. And when they go into the bedroom, they see a gruesome scene. Faith is naked from the waist down, and she has clearly been beaten. And there's blood everywhere.
Ugh.
And that's when Karina makes that 911 call.
Okay. This is all very weird.
I know. So at the scene, investigators find a handwritten note that has been written on a food takeout bag and placed on the bed. And there's no blood on the bag, which indicates that it was written after Faith was killed. Like they took the time to write a note.
Okay.
And it says, quote, "I'm not stupid, bitch jealous."
That doesn't make any sense.
No. And the handwriting looks like a child's writing. It's like creepy.
Well, I mean, then that's how most dudes write, like children. Handwriting is atrocious.
It would be like if I was writing with my non-dominant hand,
right,
and like a big crayon.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So, as they continue to process the scene, they learn that Faith was beaten to death with a peach Bacardi rum bottle.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also find semen at the scene, and they're able to collect a sample of DNA, and they start talking to everyone in Faith's circle. They interview Karina at length, and she is ultimately cleared.
Weird, because I was starting to suspect Karina was doing something shady.
I was too. Yeah. They talk to Eric Takoy Jones. Eric is Karina's ex-boyfriend, and Faith had helped Karina get a restraining order against him because he was abusive.
Okay.
And he also lived in the same complex as them.
Oh, that's fun.
I know. Oh, God. That sounds like a fucking nightmare. Some dude you have a restraining order against
lives 2 floors up. Yeah.
Constantly looking out the window before you get your mail or anything.
Whatever.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So they collect a sample of Eric's DNA. They also get a sample from that man that is seen with Faith coming out of the Thrill.
Yep.
And they are not a match.
Okay.
And police end up collecting 100 samples from men that knew Faith, and none of them were a match.
Okay. So now this is going to be like the most insane version, which is like random stranger fucking violence.
Well, you might be really mad at the not a nice bow at the end of this. So I'm pre-apologizing.
Oh, so no.
One of Faith's close friends, Iuna, remembers that she received a voicemail from Faith on the night that she was killed, but at the time she didn't know that Faith had been killed.
Right.
So she just deleted it because it sounded like a pocket dial, which she said Faith did all the time.
We all have so that funny. One person in our life. Mm-hmm.
You know what's so funny is I'm always the one being pocket dialed, I think, because my name starts with A.
Oh.
And like, you know what I mean?
Maybe.
I get pocket dials all the time.
You know, Sebastian's now past grandfather, Bruce. He used to pocket dial me all the time.
Oh my God.
It made no sense. I was constantly getting voicemails, and it would be like 3, 5, 7, whatever, long ass minutes on my voice in my inbox of just like him, like not even talking. Like it's like he's driving. I don't even know. All the time.
Okay,
For years this went on.
Did it get to a point where like when you saw his number pop up, you didn't even answer?
Exactly. Like, That's exactly right.
Okay. I might sound like a total psycho here, but you know, maybe you can join with me in this. But have you ever picked up when it's clearly a pocket dial and you stay on longer than you should just to listen?
Of course. Like what's going on?
Like what are they talking about?
What's happening right now? Am I going to get like something good? Yeah, 100%. So she deleted it because it was probably a pocket dial.
Yeah. But she contacts her cell phone provider and she's able to retrieve the deleted voicemail and turn it over to the police. So the voicemail does sound like a pocket dial. This is where it gets kind of weird because the police say that the timestamp on the voicemail is 1:27 a.m., which means that Faith was still at the Thrill. And they think that that's what's being heard.
Okay.
But her family says that it sounds like a struggle, and they believe that they can hear Faith yelling no. And her mom told this whole, I believe it was her mom or maybe Rolanda, this whole story about like a text exchange when they were in church. And this, again, is 2012. And like later when she saw the timestamp, it was like 3 hours off. So they're questioning like the validity of
the timestamp.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So police send some of the male DNA to Parabon Nanolab, which is a lab that is used to create a picture based on what is known about the DNA.
Okay.
And all they're really able to determine is that it's a man of Hispanic descent. They don't know height, weight, or age.
Sure.
So back to this other student who was killed at UNN. This student was Eve Carson. She was killed when 2 men forced their way into her apartment, off-campus apartment, forced her into their car, drove her to the bank, then forced her to withdraw her money from the ATM. Then they shot her and left her in the road.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's fucking horrific. But when Eve was killed, the state immediately got involved and the two suspects were apprehended immediately. And so Faith's friends can't help but feel like maybe this is because she's indigenous and they don't, they have DNA and they can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But having DNA doesn't mean anything if nothing's coming up in the databases and it's not matching any of the possible suspects that you've collected DNA from. It's not like they didn't, I don't know. But I hear you.
I know.
I hear it. I hear
it's
it.
Hard.
Yep, I hear it.
Yeah. So then on September 16th, 2021, 9 years and 9 days after Faith's murder, Chapel Hill police make an arrest.
What?
And they arrest, Miguel Enrique Salgado Olivares.
Security guard on campus?
Well, this is where you're going to be bummed at the not having a nice little bow tied up. So he's 28 years old and he lives in Durham, which is very close by to there. He would have been 19 at the time of Faith's murder. He hadn't been on their radar at all. And that August of 2021, he was arrested on a DUI charge. And so his DNA was taken.
Right.
And his DNA and the palm print found on the Bacardi bottle were a match.
Okay.
So he is being held without bond and the case has not yet gone to trial.
Oh.
I know. Police have not released any details as far as whether or not he knew Faith. Was it random? Did he follow her home? Nothing. I just want to point out, too, that he is innocent until proven guilty. One of the things that I found interesting, like his family is, and I dug for even a status update on this case. There's nothing. Like they are keeping it very tight-lipped. But his family is very adamant that that he's innocent, of course. And also that he doesn't speak English, at least not well, which I actually found that to be sort of interesting based on the note.
Yeah.
Seems like it could have been written by somebody who doesn't speak English well.
Right.
But some people said that they recognized him, that he would frequent the Thrill.
I was going to say
club.
He probably followed her home from the club.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also, in this thing that I watched, Karina didn't want to participate and she refuses to even talk about it. And I imagine like her leaving that door unlocked.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking can't.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
The survivor's guilt and just all of it.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to keep my eye on that one.
Yes.
I don't know if because of COVID or whatever, there's such a delay in.
It's delayed everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of updates, it was last week when the retrial started for those 3 pieces of shit that murdered Lucia Perez.
Really?
Mm-hmm, it just, the 7th of February. So I tried to read up on it. Like it had just started. So there just wasn't really much in the way of news, except that like the trial had started again. So I'm keeping an eye on that, but wow, sister, that is,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Terrible.
That's awful.
I know.
Well, you'll have to let us know. You're in charge of keeping an eye on that one to let us know.
I will.
The updates there. I don't know, man. I have a hard time with the, like, the whole, like, the family is adamant that they're innocent thing. It's like, it's DNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's DNA. And I know they talk about, like, we know that there's things that can be off about DNA. It's not like a fucking magic bullet or whatever. It's not like but it's also pretty, in most cases, if it's done right, it's pretty fucking accurate. So
yeah. And it was DNA and a palm print.
Yeah.
If it was just one, but it's both.
Right.
It's not good.
No, it's not. Oh, wow. That was a big bummer. Shocking. I'm so surprised you brought me a bummer.
I'm really sorry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What have you got? You got bears or?
I I do have some chaos for you. Do you want me to get into some chaos?
Always.
You know what? First, before I jump in, let's just take a moment and remind everybody, when is this one going to drop? When is this episode going to drop?
Well, that's a great question. I believe March 12th.
March 12th? That sounds about right. Then this will happen before our live show.
Yes.
Which is April 2nd at the Blue Moon Tavern at 6 p.m. in concert, literally, with Tinfoil Top Hat, who will also be playing. So come check us out, Crime, Wine, and Chaos with Tinfoil Top Hat. Have a couple glasses of wine with us in real time while we share you some stories. Yes.
Little music, little murder, little wine. Sounds like a fun night.
Sounds like a great night. There's definitely going to be a shrapnel contingency. They are making plans, and I'm kind of, again, I want to vomit every time I think about it. So I literally was like, you guys know that it's not cool to heckle, right?
Oh yeah, heckling isn't cool.
No, heckling's not cool. And just for the record, guys, heckling is not just negative, even positive. It's considered heckling when you talk to the performers. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just enjoy the show.
You really have to get into your zone when you're performing, and non-performers don't understand how hard that is. So please don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that. Okay. All right. Now that we've done our PSA, let's get into some chaos. Oh, so the here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to start with Amber.
Yeah.
Let's talk about meth.
Let's talk about meth, baby. Wow. Okay. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. It's a hell of a drug. You actually might be surprised to know that even with all the drugs I've put in my body over the years, I've never actually done meth.
I'm not surprised, and I'm thrilled to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, when I was in high school, I definitely had friends who did, right? And I recall very specifically being with some girls somewhere one time, and it was offered to me, and I was still very, very afraid of the hard stuff, so I declined. Turns out that uppers just were never my jam. I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't really need any added energy. So whenever I got high, what I really wanted was to get low, right? So that just a little more on my story, guys. So you know me, we're going to take a minute. We're going to get nerdy with it. So where the fuck did meth come from anyway? Well, it's like most man-made drugs. It started in a plant. Ephedra is a type of shrub whose extract has been used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years. In 1885, a Japanese chemist isolated the active chemical in the shrub, a stimulant called ephedrine. Methamphetamine wasn't very easy to manufacture until 1919, when another Japanese chemist streamlined the process using phosphorus and iodine to reduce the ephedrine to a crystallized form, creating the world's first crystal meth.
Wow.
There are a bunch of relatives to crystal meth, varying in their exact chemical makeup. I'm not a chemist. I don't understand all this, but there's like an umbrella of methamphetamines, right? And they're used by...
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I hope one of your photos for this episode is the periodic table of elements.
I mean, I can make that happen.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
So, some of them are used as prescription to treat ADHD, like Adderall and Ritalin. In the early 1930s, pharmaceutical companies made an amphetamine inhaler to treat asthma and nasal congestion, which it absolutely does, but it will also get you real high. So then it was manufactured in pill form to treat narcolepsy. OBS.
But I'm the opposite of being asleep.
Yeah. But I'm sure it isn't
too
news.
Far.
Yeah, right. But I'm sure it isn't news to you or most of your listeners that for a period of time, various armies around the world handed out meth to its soldiers to give them the boosts they needed to march and fight for longer than their bodies would naturally allow.
Yep. Quick question.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a question.
No stupid questions here.
Is that the same as speed?
I mean, I think so. I think speed is a stimulant. It's just a general word for stimulant.
Oh, okay. Got it. It's not its own drug category.
I don't think so. But again, I am not a chemist, and I do not know the difference between these things. I have friends that do. I am not smart enough to answer that question definitively for you. Wiki can. You can ask Wiki. During World War II, Japanese kamikaze pilots received high doses of Pervitin before suicide flight missions, and Japanese factory workers used meth to work longer hours.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What?
Pervitin was a non-prescription drug made in Berlin starting in 1938 and mass marketed in Germany by the Temmler Pharmaceutical Company. Oh, and yes, this goes back to the Nazis.
Oh my God, here we are again. Full circle Nazi moment.
Oh, we're going deep into Nazi territory today.
Oh, jeez.
Initially, it was heavily used by all branches of the armed forces of the Third Reich. The Nazis issued a, quote, stimulant decree that resulted in 35 million doses being sent to the front lines.
Okay, again, forgive my ignorance. I understand that it gives you like an energy boost, but it also makes you high. So we're flying planes and shooting guns while we're high AF?
Yes. So.
Okay, cool.
The side effects, especially from withdrawal, did bring the military diminishing returns.
Well, no. Oh, that was your next sentence. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad I'm tracking. I'm like, this sounds problematic. That sounds like the most aggressive kind of fucking DUI when you're on meth in a fucking fighter jet. Like, I don't think you should do that.
Right. So,
yes.
Right. Okay. So by 1941, they had cut way back and they only handed out a couple of pills at a time and only by prescription. And soldiers were discouraged from using the pills during combat.
I see. A meth diet.
Yes. It turns out being high on meth doesn't make people more effective.
Darn.
And let's be clear here. Allied forces were not going to be out-methed, and they handed out their own doses to troops as well. So there was just a lot of teeth grinding going on in Europe during World War II.
Jesus Christ. Oh, out-methed. Fuck.
So we're in the thick of it in World War II. Hitler is trying to conquer the whole world or all of Europe and the Soviet Union. Who the fuck really knows? He was also high as fuck the whole fucking time, right?
Right.
And caught up in the mix was Finland.
Oh, Finland.
Yeah, we're headed back to Lapland in northern Finland. You remember, it's just a lot.
I do.
It's just a lot of snow and empty land dotted with tiny towns. And its eastern border and its eastern border is shared with the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. Okay, so to fully understand, full nerd here. So to fully understand what's happening in Finland, you got to understand the history of Finland. For hundreds of years, Finland actually belonged to Sweden until 1809 when it was seized by the Russian Empire. So for the next 100 years or so, Finland is actually part of the Russian Empire, and they do pretty well and they enjoy a lot of autonomy. But then in 1917, Russia has a civil war and Finland's like, yo, we're seceding and becoming our own thing. Bye.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And Russia was
That's a very new country.
It is a very new country. And they've had like
I didn't realize that.
They've had like 4 or 5 women presidents in their like just over 100 years of democracy. Anyway, they showed us. And Russia was like, cool. We're kind of busy anyway. Best of luck with that. They had that whole Civil War thing going on.
Sure.
But Germany was getting involved in Finland's shit, and Germany and Russia just never could get along. And by World War II, there was just too much German influence in Russia's next door neighbor for Russia to feel comfortable. And Russia was like, yeah, we're going to want this country back. Thanks. The Finns,
no takebacks. No,
well, the Finns, of course, fought back, and Germany was like, hells yeah, fuck Russia, let's go. So look, okay, I am summarizing a whole lot of shit here, but the result is that for the majority of World War II, the Finns were allied with Germany basically as an enemy of my enemy is my friend situation. They needed all the help they could get to keep themselves from a full-on Russian takeover.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got it.
And this is where
we had to team up with them.
Yeah. And this is where we find ourselves on March 18th, 1944 in the Laplands, still heavily covered in snow, where Finnish soldiers had been fighting at this point almost nonstop for 4 years. And one Finnish ski patrol is deep behind enemy lines, surrounded by Soviets.
Oh, no.
Gunfire rings out and the Finnish squad finds themselves in an ambush. So, of course, they all hightail it out of there on their skis.
On their skis?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Finland.
Okay, so the story is about this particular man. And I actually contacted our dear Auntie Lola because I should have done that the last time I did a story about Finland, but I didn't have time. But I wanted to make sure.
When you were like, these Finnish words are hard.
Yeah.
I wish I knew someone that could help me with that.
So I asked Lola just to be sure, like, how do you pronounce this Finnish man's name? And she sent me an audio recording on Facebook
I love
Messenger.
her.
So here we go. This is his name.
Aimo Koivunen. That's Aimo Koivunen.
Aimo Koivunen. Aimo Koivunen. That's his name.
Okay, and for our listeners, our aunt is a Finnish translator.
Yes, that's literally her.
Yes.
She eats, breathes, and sleeps Finnish translations to English.
Yeah.
Aimo Koivunen leads this group through deep, untouched snow. They are relying on him to cut tracks through the snow so they can glide across where he has made a path, right? Mm-hmm. So as you can imagine, this is hard fucking work, and it doesn't take very long before he is nearly exhausted. The men behind him shouted at him that he needed to move faster. I mean, they're trying to outrun the fucking Russians, right? Aimo, don't fall asleep, one of his buddies yelled at him.
Oh my God.
But thanks, sweet little baby Jesus, that before they had set out on their mission, the squad had received a ration of Pervitin.
I always get my meth from Jesus. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jesus.
Their commanders promised these little magic pills would give them a burst of energy should they find themselves in need of it.
Oh.
Aimo wasn't super into taking these drugs, but desperate times and all that, so he decided to take some.
While he's still moving?
Yep.
Okay.
They are skiing away from the Soviets. He reaches into his pocket to find the pills, and for some reason, he was holding the rations for the entire squad.
Uh-oh.
And this is all happening on the move, like I said, and he hasn't stopped cutting tracks. Maybe he slowed down a little bit, and he's wearing these thick-ass mittens because it's fucking Finland in the winter, so he's having a time of it trying to get just one pill out of the bottle, so he just takes all 30 pills.
Oh, no.
So, to be clear, the safe dose of these pills is 1 per day, and he took all 30 without water.
Oh, no. He's going to overdose and die.
Well, as you can imagine, he immediately picks up the pace. And initially...
Well, sure.
Yeah. Initially, his squad is keeping up with him. Remember, he's cutting the path for them, so they don't have to work quite as hard as he does. But the Soviets fall back because they cannot keep up with him. And as the pills really kicked in, he started tripping out pretty badly. The surrounding landscape morphed before his eyes. He became increasingly paranoid, and he started flashing in and out of consciousness while he skied.
Oh my God. Okay.
At some point, the other guys had noticed Aimo didn't look all that well, and they took away his ammunition. His last rational thought was that he had made a huge, huge mistake.
Yeah.
Then Aimo's vision goes blurry, and he blacks the fuck out, and he keeps going.
He's sleep skiing?
He's like not in his mind anymore, but he is still skiing.
Good for him.
He comes back to reality the next day and realizes he's traveled 62 miles.
No way.
And he is completely alone. He left his squad in the dust, maybe, or maybe they left him. He's not sure where the fuck he is, how much time has passed, or how he got here.
I can't believe he's alive.
Right? Oh, also, he is still high as shit.
Is he still in his skis?
Yes.
Okay.
He also has no ammunition and no food. Literally, all he had was his skis and a body fueled by meth.
Oh my God.
And he kept skiing.
Oh.
He also kept blacking out and snapping back to reality, finding himself in places he did not recognize at all, doing weird things he did not remember ever consciously deciding to do.
Like what?
Well, at some point, Aimo wound up on top of a hill and he sees a fire burning in the distance with some men standing around it. And he thinks it's got to be a German camp. And he thought it would be a great idea to crash land right in the middle of it so they could rescue him. He merrily skied down the hill at full speed, but when he found himself near enough, he realized those weren't, in fact, German soldiers. They were Russians.
Oh, no.
Luckily for Aimo, they were so bewildered to see a high-as-a-kite Finnish soldier speeding on skis straight through their camp that they just stared at him open mouth, and he was gone before they knew what hit them.
Oh, my God. I'm totally getting visions of Christmas Vacation when he waxes the sled and there's flames behind him. Like, does he just have flames behind his skis?
Maybe.
Jesus Christ. Oh, wow.
Some of the Soviet soldiers did try to follow him, but he was in the middle of a meth-fueled frenzy and pretty much nothing could stop him, and he left them behind with ease.
All right.
In the following days, Aimo survived on just water, pine needles, and meth. Did I mention he took 30 days worth of pills at once?
30 days.
He hallucinated some more, talked with a number of friends who weren't there, obviously, and fought a wolverine that turned out to be a tree branch, shattering his wrist compass and losing his backpack in the process.
Oh,
Aimo.
Oh, I'm sorry, Aimo.
At some point, he somehow found himself in an abandoned cabin, and he decided to start a fire on the wooden floor in the middle of the room.
No. We don't start fires when we're high on meth.
Well, he did. And pretty soon, the whole cabin was on fire, and Aimo was curled up on the ground trying to sleep and just wiggling further and further away from the flames every time they got too close.
Also, why is he trying to sleep like this? He's not going to sleep.
Well, you're right. Luckily for him, his meth-induced restlessness didn't allow him to fall asleep. And when the cabin finally collapsed, because of course it did, he managed to escape, put on his skis, and he was back out there again on his way.
He is like some sort of bionic person.
Mm-hmm.
What a
super soldier,
wow.
meth-fueled super soldier. Still high as fuck. He then spent most of the night trying very hard to reach a distant light coming from a farm window, only to realize at dawn that he had chased the North Star all night.
Oh, Aimo. Oh my God.
In the morning, he came across an abandoned German outpost. The Germans, of course, had mined the place after leaving, and Aimo set off one of the mines basically as soon as he set foot in there. And had he been a little less high, the bone fragments protruding through his right foot probably would have worried him quite a bit. But he just hopped about the German camp and tried to open the door of a dugout, only to set off another mine. He found himself belly up and nearly buried in snow about 30 meters from the dugout. His clothes and shoes had been torn to shreds in the explosion, and he was still holding the doorknob in his hand like a real-life version of a Looney Tunes character.
I was just going to say, this guy is Wile E. Coyote.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So, in addition to having no weapons, no food, and no compass, now he was also seriously hurt, half naked, and still tripping balls. He decided to crawl into a ditch and sleep, and he dreamt of food.
Oh. Other than pine needles.
A few days later, a group of Finnish soldiers randomly came upon him. Aimo was quite the sight to behold, and they were definitely shocked. And they promised him that they would send a rescue party. And he was sure they would never come back for him. And later he became convinced he actually hallucinated the whole encounter. And he went back to sleep and dreamt about food some more.
Oh my God.
So while he waited for the Russians to find and kill him or the Finns to save him, he managed to capture a Siberian jay and he ate it raw.
Oh.
A few days later, the Finns actually did come rescue him. And when he was finally brought to a field hospital, his heart rate was measured at 200 beats per minute, and he weighed a shocking 94 pounds.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
How much time has lapsed?
When it was all said and done, Aimo had skied across Finland for 2 weeks. And he covered an estimated 250 miles.
Oh, my God. Holy shit.
Surprisingly enough, Aimo Koivunen not only survived the ordeal, but he went on to live a long and happy life, dying in 1989 at the age of 71.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Grandpa Aimo at the dinner table?
No,
that fucking story.
And that is the story
way
of Aimo Koivunen. Yeah, Koivunen.
Where do you find this shit?
Actually, I got to give credit where credit's due. Sebastian sent me, I think, a TikTok about this. I feel like I had heard mention of it before, but he sent it to me a while ago. I've been holding on to it until I was ready.
Holy shit, sister.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was amazing. Wow.
So there you go. There's my chaos for the day.
Yeah, it sure was. Thank you, Sebastian. That was amazing.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that.
I did.
Thank you for taking the time today.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you.
Love you. Love you.
Do we have anything else for the good of the order?
No, just follow us on all the things.
Follow us on all the things.
Go check out our Patreon. We got some Patreon offerings.
We do
these days.
We do. Chaos
that are
Kids
fun.
Club. You get some perks. You'll get a bonus episode every month. And once enough of you sign up, we'll start doing some virtual wine nights together. It'll be fun. It'll be really fun.
It'll be a good time.
Thank you, Sissy. I think we did it.
Sissy. I love you.
I love you too. And that was so fucking chaotic.
Bye. Crime, Wine, and Chaos is produced by 8th Direction Records. Artwork by Joshua M. Davis. Music by Paul Abner. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our Patreon page at crimewineandchaos.com/Patreon. Cheers!
Oh, you said Karen earlier. You've never used those words on this show ever before.
I know.